What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Nujabes. And once again, I wanted to give a big shout out to my friend Chris, who sent me this double LP of his album Modal Soul, originally from the 2000s, but reissued years after his passing, R.I.P. to Nujabes, Seba June. And as I now understand, not only does his musical range, or did it encompass jazz and improvisational stylings, but also hip-hop, especially maybe a lo-fi style of hip-hop, which I think my friend Chris mentioned he is seen as one of the pioneers of. This time we're going to listen to a tune called Ordinary Joe, which features Terry Callier. So yes, I'm not familiar, but I assume that is the MC. The first track featured two MCs, so we got a couple different voices doing some rhyming. But again, my understanding based on the Discogs categorization of his music is that there's a lot of jazz too, so I would expect maybe some of these vocalists that are featured on the tracks to be jazz singers, not just necessarily MCs in a hip-hop style, so we'll see as we go over the course of the album. But I've never heard of Terry Callier. I'm not sure how it'll be pronounced. I guess I will have to look that up afterward. In any case, we will now listen to Ordinary Joe by Nujabes featuring Terry Callier, or maybe Callier.
Terry Callier.
Well, there we go.
Got a new way to flow. Ordinary Joe. You know.
Almost like his voice is a brass instrument.
Run around, get your game up tight, and if you must just take your secrets underground. Politicians try to speak you, man, come and watch us try to teach you. That we will really try to reach you. If you're lost in the stack, that's okay. Come on, right? I'll be the last of the night. Although they say you're just a lazy so-and-so, what they think is real is nothing but an
tell it was about to end.
A new way to flow.
It was sort of bookended, meaning, you know, it didn't end exactly as it began, but he began by coming in saying, "This is Terry, and, you know, what's up? I've got a new way of flow, a new way to flow." And then he began doing these melodic vocals that were, as I said at the time, almost like a trumpet or some brass instrument. Then he started singing actual lyrics, but still in a jazzy, soulful style, but also over the course of the track delivering lines closer to like a hip-hop rhyming style. So it seemed to be somewhere in between a rhyming hip-hop vocal performance mixed with a bit of soul singing. And yeah, it seems like he addressed a lot of things. At first it sounded like he was talking to a lover and saying that, you know, he was looking to make them, like to turn them on, and he was being loving to avoid crying. So then there's like a juxtaposition of maybe different types of emotions. But eventually he's talking about how politicians want to talk and, you know, maybe confuse you, and other people might want to abuse you, which, you know, is now making me think of the classic reference, or the classic line in the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams. But yeah, then it seemed to be addressing more like philosophical meets social type of ideas, and then he seemed to return to the idea of this meta, like, vocal phrasing and talk about, you know, this way that I'm singing is a new type of flow. And yeah, it did seem like it was a sort of innovative approach to vocalization. All the while we had this very like syncopated double time and yet still smooth sonic background with this constantly like time-keeping cymbal crash going the whole occasion. It might have been a ride cymbal, but I think it was more than just a hi-hat. I think it was a cymbal sort of keeping time. So the percussion and the sonics had a bit of energy and intensity, and yet even so the whole thing felt smooth and flowing, which fits with the vocal performance from Terry. So just a really interesting track. Unique, I would say. Not the type of tune when I think of jazz, not the type of tune when I think of hip-hop, but some fusion between the two. I will say that flute part that really stood out, and say like the just after halfway point, like the second third of the tune, it really had this like 70s progressive jazz feel to it. So it felt a bit throwback, even as the stylings were more modernized and hybridized, like more of a fusion of some different things, but it still felt a bit throwback, in particular with that flute part. So just a really dynamic and unique tune. Definitely not something I've heard before, and I have spent some time listening to lo-fi hip-hop, and, you know, in the days of YouTube videos where they, you know, like 2+ hours of this type of music, I do remember, you know, putting on a lo-fi hip-hop background while I was doing work, or, you know, sorting through my record collection and so on. So I've heard lo-fi hip-hop, and yet even saying that, not really anything like the first two tracks on this album. So I'm going to enjoy this journey. Once again, big shout out to Chris. The next track is called Reflection Eternal, and it doesn't say it's featuring anyone, so maybe that will be an instrumental. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. Do let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.